everyone, and welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Indie Credible Podcast. It's episode 28. One of your hosts, Xander Scullion, and joined with me is Jeffrey Wittenhagen. What's up, Jeff?
I'm here, and they had to wait for me to finish my crazy ass workout this morning. That was I did over 300 squats, so definitely nothing over. Actually, I did some Arnold presses. It was shoulders and legs, and I only had to do it today because yesterday all I did was run, and I didn't do my workout. So I'm like, but last night went out and got burgers and shakes, so I felt every ounce of that grease as I was working out. Like,
Oh my gosh.
I try to not eat bad all the time, and like I felt every inch of it, and I'm like, maybe I won't eat the leftovers today. Oh,
That's the thing. Like when you eat really healthy and then you end up eating something like really heavy and greasy, it really does take a toll on your body. Like you feel it. You really do feel it.
it was delicious, mind you.
You know what
Go
else
ahead.
you know what else I feel and I think is delicious? Indie video games.
Freaking nerd, freaking nerd. Actually, it's even more delicious than indie video games.
What's that?
The fact that the complete SNES is up on Kickstarter, over 200% funded. I think we're over 300% funded.
Holy
Um,
shit.
Yeah, like badass. I launched it at the time of this recording like a few days ago. And basically people have been excited, and I can officially say now that I am a commissioned artist because somebody did commission me to do one of my pixel arts. And I sent you what my goal was for this weekend, which was not one of the pixel arts, but it does go into the surprise reveal. First one does not, the second one does. So I did Mario 3. Now, this is a classic Mario 3. This is hand painted, mind you.
So good.
I signed him on the back. This is just wood. I painted it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it looks just like the art. I mean, this was a two color. Technically, it's 3, but I left the rest natural wood. Yeah, that's black and red, just the classic Mario 3. Now, the other one I did more colors than 2, and it is Sonic.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, do you know which Sonic this is?
That's Sonic CD.
It is. And that goes into the surprise reveal of what arrived the other day.
Ooh, the complete Sega 32X.
And Sega CD. That's the Sega CD logo.
That is.
So, with the complete Genesis Kickstarter for the Pocket Edition, I did a free book. I was like, I'm going to do a free pamphlet on the complete Sega CD and 32X. Me being me, I didn't do a pamphlet. This is actually a paperback book now. And so it is huge. Like it's a book. It's an actual complete series book.
It's great seeing this because I remember this was something that you were kind of working on when we first started the podcast. I remember we were talking about this and you were just like, man, I don't know what I got myself into. I'm doing Sega CD and 32X. And here we are looking at the like physical finished product. So yeah, kudos, man. That's freaking awesome.
So this right here was a stretch goal for the complete Genesis, and I was just going to do a small little booklet. Instead, I did a full book, which means those of you that didn't back the complete Genesis, I will offer it up for sale. Might just do another Kickstarter because that's the easiest way to market it, by the way.
Yeah.
Than just like put it up on if I put it on my website, I gotta like promote it, and if you share a link and don't pay money, nobody sees it. So Kickstarter's actually easier for people to see that it exists. Now, what's cool about this is this right here is 3D.
Oh wow. Oh
yeah. So like there's like a little like on the inside.
Yeah,
like it's embossed. And so I did embossing on it just to make it cool. Yeah, it's 115 pages. Covers also multi-regions, other regions. Now, because I have that, I also have the complete Genesis pocketbook. So this is the complete Genesis pocketbook. It is a little wider, and it's only a little wider because it avoided me from having to reformat the entire book. Now, I say pocket. I have to use quotation marks every time. Now it's the paperback because it's not a pocket. This won't fit. See? See? Look at the balloons. But this is also embossed. So the art here is embossed. But check out the difference between the hardcover and the paperback. It's not much smaller.
I mean, if you're wearing a pair of Jinkos, you can put it in your pocket.
So it's Jinko pocketbook. Well, yeah. But yeah, as you can see now, it is much smaller, but it doesn't cut any content. So in previous books, I had cut out the content on some of the different stories. I left all the stories intact. So this is a full paperback version, just a mini version. I like having small versions of my books, and I do like that it's the same height. So that way, at least if you put the books together on the shelf, they'll fit.
Yeah.
It's also the same height as the Metroidvania Chronicles.
That's good.
When you add a hardcover, though, the hardcover is a little taller, but it's the same paper height.
That's always something that I hate about when I'm like, stacking books on my bookshelf. It's like when you have the little small paperback, and they're always small and they always fall down. So it's nice that one has like
my book thing right there. Look at it; it's all like crazy. Everybody does their own book standard. That's just how people do it. My thing is though is that now, because this is so much larger, my pocket guides are like tiny compared. Like they're like actual trade paperback size. So now these are a little bit larger. I still think it's kind of neat. And I'll probably, if I do a pocket guide of the Turbo, I'll probably do it this size. So that way it's just like a nice little reading collector's guide. You can put this still fits nicely in a backpack.
yeah, it's very convenient. It looks
She is tough. And you can take it around. Obviously, it also has the little check boxes, cart box manual. So
that's cool.
You can sit there and track it. On the Sega CD, I did on the page, own it, play it, beat it. Rate it. Own it, play it, beat it, rate it. Which is something that I'm doing with the turbos. But I only did one per page for all three. So that way you got to like kind of, you just make it your own. But that was supposed to be like a mini guide. So I wasn't making it into a full-on book. And now it is. That's like, I want to say that's the 30th unique book I've made. 30th.
Yeah, because I mean, it started out as just like a little like idea, and I remember the more you worked on it, the more it became a little bit more elaborate. I mean, this is on and on because that's because it's Sega CD, but it's like both is like all regions, right? It's not just
it's not only all regions. So I got the US, I have the Mega CD regions. I have the 32X. I have the 32X Sega CD combo releases. I also did the aftermarket homebrew games on Sega CD. So that includes games like a Sonic Mega Mix, which I feel like as a fan game, that's like a full game. But there's games in here like Bug Blasters and Note and Citizen X and like there's a bunch of different games. And Pure Solar. Do you know that? You know the neat thing about Pure Solar Sega CD is? You know
what's that?
So the Sega CD is technically not a game release. What it is it is the soundtrack on a Sega CD that works in tandem with the cartridge and plays. So you put the cartridge in, the Sega CD plays the music. So you have CD music with a cartridge-based game. And apparently, according to the lore, according to the actual Pure Solar lore, is that capability was available for the Sega CD. Nobody ever used it. That's the goal. So it's kind of a cool little tidbit. But yeah, that's included in there. And I think that version was only released with the very first release of Pure Solar. Pure Solar had multiple releases. The coolest one for me is the Pure Solar and the clamshell. It has like a black spine if you look it up on Steam. But the original one, I think had the red Sega like spine on it. That's the one that as the Sega CD. It's either attached to the outside or inside the box. I can't remember at this point, but it was a cardboard box release as well. That's all Watermelon Team. Watermelon Team does super high quality packaging and releases.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten every single release of Pure Solar outside of that original one, but ever since I found out about them, I like supported them with all the stuff. Even Pop Realm, which is for the Sega Genesis, is a very controversial beat 'em up release. Took over 10 years to release. Crazy.
Yeah, I remember when Pure Solar. I remember where that was. I remember listening to All Gen Gamers when they were waiting for their copies of Pure Solar. And that was probably
Really?
like one of the earliest homebrew games that I learned about that I was like, holy crap, they are still like these independent gamers are making games for these older consoles. And I thought that was it's such a normal concept today, but back then, like 10,
Oh yeah.
15 years ago, it was like, holy crap, this is awesome, you know? It's still great.
Covered Pierce Solar. That's actually my favorite release. This is, the Pocket Guy, but also on the other side, you got Poprium. And the weird thing about Poprium, and actually it was interviewed on Rarity 2, the documentary for this. They actually interviewed me for the stuff I do, but then I had a lot of knowledge on Poprium that they were interested in that really nobody had. So after Pierce Solar, Watermelon Team opened up a website. On the website, they had this like gems system. And basically, you threw in like 10, $20. I can't even remember what it was. It was way back in the time. You donate gems. You get these gems, and these gems would be used to put toward the physical versions of these games. And it was Project X and Project Y. And one of the projects turned into Poprium. But you got to vote in the forums what you wanted to be: Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, beat 'em up, whatever genre, whatever. And so there was a Sega Genesis and a Super Nintendo game being made by Watermelon Team. And
Wow.
yeah, and I donated into both because it wasn't expensive. It was like 10, $20, whatever it was. It might have been 40. I don't know. I thought it was a while ago though. And so when I did it, I got the backer version of Poprium, which was really cool. So like they 100%, they took forever, but it's game development. Like when it comes to like making new stuff, I'm not like impatient at all. If I'm impatient, I'll wait to buy it when it comes out. But like if I'm going to support somebody, same thing as supporting a Kickstarter. If I'm going to support somebody, like I'm supporting the idea, I'm supporting what they're doing. I understand that's going to take time. And like the guy from Watermelon Team, he was crazy. He was doing like parties and like doing crazy stuff, which, hey, the game came out still. I still have a copy of it. It plays great. It's cool. Biggest game on the Sega Genesis.
Now, and it was a big deal back then. Like I said, people were going crazy because that was right. Like I said, especially with the all jig gamers, that was like right around the time I felt like the retro collecting and retro community was really like starting to blossom. And then we were learning about all these home brews, and it was a good time.
Oh, you're talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was talking about later with Poprium too, just like waiting for the next game from them, which is super cool. This Pure Solar is an awesome role playing game. Like that game was excellent. But so let's go to the other portion, and this is something that the listeners can follow on along with. SteamDB created this thing called a calculator, and I want you to go to the link to right now, Xander. Go to the calculator. And if you did what I recommended, which you have to go into your settings, this is for our listeners too. You have to go to your profile. And you have to uncheck a little box in the privacy settings that says "Do not or share your." You have to uncheck the box that says "Don't share your playtime," because what this does is this calculator will show us everything with your account. It's going to show you. You're going to get disappointed because it's going to show you how much you spent on your Steam and all the details and how many you played. And your XP and average price per game you played, average price per hour you've played, and how many hours you have on record, average playtime, and how much it's worth today versus how much you spent. And
Yeah, where's the link?
the link's in our show notes, Sander. It's under episode 28.
Oh,
there's a link there. It's right under the thing that says surprise reveal, and then it says a link. Well, Xander's an old man, listeners. You see, like he's like, I told him like, hey, there's a link there. He's like, okay. Like, look.
Yeah, well,
and just so you know, for the listeners, it's steamdb.info/calculator. So steamdb.info/calculator.
that's
doing anything live. Doing anything live with Xander's fun because he scrambles his brain. He's like, link? How do I click?
There it is. I found it. I had the show notes, but I didn't have the drive up, so I didn't have the label, the thing copied. Let me see here.
Yeah. So basically what you do though is you go to this link, it validates you're human, and then you just put in your Steam ID in it. It's like mine's the Subcon 3. Anybody can add me as a listener. The Subcon 3. It shows I'm a level 13. And I'm gonna go over my stuff while Xander's clicking buttons because it's gonna take him like an hour and a half to do this.
Yeah.
And it shows I'm from the US. It shows that I've had a Steam account for 13.8 years. 13.8 years.
Wow.
And based on lowest prices, my account value is $2,319. That's how much my account value is. That isn't how much I paid. That's how much the value is. Now what I'm tracking is based on this value is this is the lowest prices available ever. And but if you got things in like Humble Bundle, you got things gifted to you, all of that stuff is in your account. So it shows the value of it. And then we'll go over all the other details together once Xander figures out how to click a little.
Yeah, mine is so sad. But then again, I haven't really used Steam a whole lot. But
Okay, so how many years have you put in Steam?
let's see. I'm a level 8. I put in
Okay.
11 and a half years. And it looks like, yeah,
What's your
it looks
account
like
value?
account value is $276.
Nice. What percentage of games have you played? The shows right underneath it, the bar shows how many out of how many games played, and it's
40. Yeah, 49 out of 60, 81%.
Oh, cool.
Bad.
So you
Not bad.
want me to be disappointed?
Yeah.
Mine is 110 out of 694. 15% is what I've played. 15%. I assume that like me just playing for like 5 minutes doesn't count because like I'll play games like real short. Yeah, that's ridiculous. What's your average price per game? That
It's actually $4.06, which goes with and no, my average price is $12.83. But my average price per hour is $4.06.
So mine is $11.44 average price per game. My average price per hour though is $10.88. $10.88. So my time is valuable apparently. How many hours do you have on record?
70 hours.
I have 242.3 hours. 242. So I have a lot more hours. I just have a lot more games. And that's likely because I do the Humble Bundles and stuff and I add all those games and I don't play them because like I'm only playing the games that like the indie stuff. 100 games or whatever. I've been playing all the indie games.
Yeah, and a lot of the games I've been getting on Steam are like shorter games. Like I get a lot of more arcade style. I haven't really dived into like a JRPG or anything on there.
So my average playtime is 2.2 hours.
Let's see, average play time for me is 1.4 hours.
Okay, and then it says today's prices based on your value. So my account value is 2,319. Today's prices $6,526 is what my account's.
Wow.
What is yours worth based on today's prices?
Okay, well, account value is $276. Today's prices though is $706.
Nice. And I think what it does is it does like the actual real price versus what it's worth. It says, but I like the link. It says, "Get disappointed in your life."
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool. I like this.
Yeah, it's a neat little thing. Let's see. It says, and then if you go down, like there's some data. But it does say that I have played 211.8 hours. So 87% has been in paid games. I actually played 28.9 hours in free games. Like 12% of my playtime has been in free games. I only play like an hour in demos. I don't play too many demos. But that's how it gets to it. So it like breaks it all down. It's pretty awesome. I've only played 3 games, 25 or more hours. I assume one of them is Elden Ring because I played the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bawatcher is probably another. Like I just like assume, and Vampire Survivors. Those are probably my 3. I don't know. It doesn't tell you the actual game titles. And then I have 13 products that are $55 or higher, which is interesting. I assume I got all those with deals though, because I remember spending $55 outside of I think Elden Ring.
You know what's really interesting too, when you scroll down, it says, "What about a random game?" And it will actually show a game in your library that you
Ooh,
can.
what is
So
yours?
it's actually that Ishkai Survivors that we covered.
Oh, mine is Revita.
What
I do.
was
It looks like
cool.
it looks like a roguelike action game, maybe Metroidvania, maybe just action platformer. Action roguelike twin stick shooter, dungeon crawler, looter shooter. Um, and it says like you can play now, don't want to play this, or I'm feeling lucky. So technically, that is a randomizer, Dan.
It
That is a
is.
randomizer for your account. So that's really neat.
That is really cool.
And if you're saying I'm feeling lucky, I assume it goes to another game randomly.
It does.
Plays it.
I hit feeling lucky and went to Ballpoint Universe Infinite. So
Ooh, let's see if I click I'm feeling lucky and see what it does. Will launch. Oh no, Elden Ring. So let's so that's really cool though. So that's something cool for listeners to go to. It's a Steam DB. So Steam DB also has all the artwork for all the different games. So if you want to like find artwork, hero pictures, which is like the big banners, high resolution logo, SteamDB has all that. But SteamDB.info/calculator, and it calculates your Steam account, which is super cool. I didn't know it did the whole account thing, which is dope. So I'm gonna mess around with it a little bit more for sure. And I didn't bring my Steam Deck with me today, so we might have to hit the Gonculator randomizer and see what it throws to us this time. Because now it's time to get Incredible on your asses.
yeah, and I have an update on a little game that I bought last episode blindly, and
Did you play it?
yeah, Curse of the Sea Rats. It's it's a beautiful game. I'll say that. It's beautiful. Like the hand drawn sprites are like it's so nice, but it really is quality over substance because the gameplay is pretty chunky. It's a pretty chunky game.
Chunky.
Yeah, so that was fun. Yeah, but I I had to clean off my palette, and
Yeah.
get
And
something
I
good.
do have the random game from last episode that I played. And I played it while drinking a tequila last weekend. It was Lila's Tale and the Hidden Forest. That was the game I hit on my randomizer that I said I would play. So I will use the quotations. Baby's first platformer.
Okay.
It's like, this is Baby's first platform. It's like super cute platformer game, precise controls, and very easy, like going through, like not a challenge, but it was perfect to play while drinking some tequila, just hanging out on a Saturday, like very cozy platformer.
Yeah,
Now, yeah,
I was gonna say that's one of the things I like about Kirby. Like Kirby's kind of a simple platform, but it's very chill. It's like sometimes you need those chill games.
and I like the first boss does one of those little spread shots things where like it wants you to like avoid him. Instead, I just weaved through and just kept on destroying him from the top because you feel like when you platform, you can sit there and do different moves. So I literally just jumped over, weaved through, destroyed, went through, destroyed. He died in like 2 seconds, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be an easy game.
But you weren't supposed to. Sorry, you weren't supposed to do that.
Yeah. Next boss is a little more creative too than just the simple one, but no, it looks like it was a very well curated game, and I mean it's in my current backlog. Because remember I talked about like in my Steam Deck I have my backlog folder. And now I have a current backlog folder, backlog now or something, and so now I have the few that I'm playing right now that I have in my backlog, and Lila's Tale is there just so I could beat it, and because I haven't beaten a whole lot of games this year. I think last year by this time I had beaten like a dozen games. I think I've beaten one game this year.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't really beaten anything this year yet. No, nothing's really like grabbed my attention to make me like stick with it. Like even
Yeah.
even that Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza, which we talked about that before on the show, and
We're excited for it.
I just can't get into it.
Damn.
You know,
Well,
Man,
you know,
sad
like,
about it.
well, the last 3 years I have moved my family across country. Like, well, every year I'm moving, and so going from Georgia to Hawaii, it was Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom was released. I played the shit out of it. Going from Hawaii here to Texas, it was Elden Ring with the new DLC, and new DLC dropped while I was playing it, and I beat the shit out of it. So this year I was like, well, what am I going to play? And so I got to find like an epic game. And could it be a Switch 2 game? Could it be like I go to Switch 2 version of Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild? Or Xbox Game Pass just released GTA 5 Enhanced Edition.
Oh, okay.
And so that might be what I put up on my my Legion Go and play that. Or do I pick a crazy ass indie game? Because there was another game that I played that was in my recent backlog, and last year I had played the first game by this developer. So the developer's Color Grave. When I was with Premium, we did a game called Cursed Crackers, which is a platformer game. But I had played this game called Prodigal by them. It was straight up Zelda Link's Awakening style. Tons of like, even like doing the little trading sequence on Link's Awakening. There was a huge, more expanded version of that inside Prodigal. There's super awesome dungeons and puzzles, and it was amazing, like Zelda style experience. So I played Veritus this week. And so it's another Zelda style action RPG. Looks like it belongs on the Game Boy Color, but 100% not like Link's Awakening. It was like an acid trip Zelda.
Oh, really?
Like, it was freaking crazy. Like, so I'm going through, there's multiple characters that you can see, NPCs that you're talking to, but it's like you're going through this dreamlike state. And you're like going through, and then like shit will like go like crazy, like little effect, and then you'll go into another section. And there's even this spot where you're talking, and like this girl is apparently your daughter, and you're like following her, and then you can't catch her, and it follows her, and then it like fades to another screen, and then it goes to something else, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I'm like going through this mansion and doing Zelda style puzzles and fighting enemies and doing badass stuff, and then I go to the next piece, and it's like a save point, and then it fucking trips out to another like trippy thing, and I'm like, so is this like Zelda with a like scene by scene by scene? Because I don't know if, and I'm pretty sure I can go back to like a previous area in the map too.
Yeah.
But it's like trippy as hell, and so like it is. I am very intrigued with it, is what I wrote in my notes. Like Prodigal was more like standard style Zelda instead of a town and going into dungeons and doing the classic thing. This is like its own beast. The character looks very similar, and I think it's meant to be the protagonist from the first game, Prodigal, but he's like older now. And that's why maybe he has a daughter or something. But
Oh, yeah.
all these NPCs are different. They're all unique looking. They're all cool. Like and there's like ways to upgrade weaponry and other things too. And so, like, it seems like a very complex game. It's very cool. And both Prodigal and Veritas are only available on Steam. The developer Colorgrave said that they were looking to see what the sales were before they would port it to like Switch or modern consoles. Because when I was still CEO Premium, I was like, I saw Cursed Crackers. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. What about Prodigal? I want a Prodigal. Like, that would be cool as shit to make a Link's Awakening inspired packaging and design. And if Veritus was coming too, and I'm like, well, what the hell? Like, you get these, but the thing is, porting is not free. And so the developers need support. So like Veritus, like that game right there is awesome. It's been on my backlog forever. And so both Lila's Tale and Veritus are both like in my shifted over. And Veritus might be the game that I play while I'm moving, or maybe I am able to beat that game and then play that bigger, more modern game. Because I also have Cyberpunk in there with GTA 5. Like, I got two giant freaking games that I could play. But
Yeah.
because last year I think I beat Fez too and Tunic. I beat Fez and Tunic while I was moving too. So I played like retro games and then big games and retro games and
Yeah. That's
like.
why you gotta do it.
But like
Yeah.
I'm not like, and that's the thing. So like I'll finish up here at the Star Major Academy in a few weeks, and so when June hits, I'll be done, which means I have like a couple months where I'll be traveling and moving, and we'll be in hotel to hotel, and at nights I'll be playing a video game, and so that's when I get my time. Have you played anything else though besides for that one game?
I played Frogun.
Ooh,
Played
oh yeah,
that.
yeah. You messaged me like it was a new game, and I'm like, bro, like I got that physical on from Limited Run like years ago, and there's a sequel.
Yeah, I didn't know about the sequel, but I've had it in my backlog. Yeah, I've had it in my backlog on Switch for a long time. But yeah, it's one of those hot hat games. You know, they make great stuff. And what I really like, dude, this game captures that PS1 era. Like the graphics almost made me think of like Ape Escape with the polygons and
100%, 100%.
Even the polygons have a little wobble to them. You know, if
Like
you
the
played
little platform to platforms that are like floating a little bit too. Like even in Ape Escape, when you have like little levels like floating.
So it's got like a really cool soundtrack. You play as this, chick that has like this little frog gun that you can use to either fight enemies, but you also use it to like swing and do all sorts of puzzle and platforming. And I had a lot of fun playing that. And now I want to check out the sequel. I'm like, what? There's a sequel? There's a physical?
It's called Frogun Encore, and I'm not sure if
Yeah.
Encore has a physical or not, but I do know if the original Frogun definitely does because I have it. Because when I played the demo or played it initially, I was like, I absolutely need to.
So good. So good.
That badass game. And that's the thing. So you mentioned who was the developer?
Top Hat Games.
Did Top Hat Games do that cutesy 3D Mario platformer too? I want to say it was the one where she like wears the top hat in it and like runs around.
I believe so. They
Remember
they also did Crypt Custodian. I remember us talking about that in a earlier episode.
Crypt Custodian. I was thinking, did Top Hat Games do that? The one cutesy platformer, like the second level, like
How they were or something.
yeah, Hat in Time. Did they do a Hat in Time?
That's a good question. I'm looking at their site right now. I don't see it, but it looks very something that they would do, but that must have been made by someone else. Maybe it's the hats that's just confusing us. But yeah, I'm looking. They did games like Crypt Custodian. They also did Sang the Desert Blade, which looks pretty cool.
Okay.
Really, really, really cool company. They make some really good stuff.
So just so we can mention it, A Hat in Time was done by Gears for Breakfast. So not Top Hat. I probably just thought Top Hat and she's wearing a top hat. Like, I mean, it's simple. But yeah, but the thing is Frogun's awesome. And another frog game. You love your frogs, apparently.
I do. I was like thinking about that the other day. I'm like, man, I must really like frogs.
Here's a frog master.
Playing Frog Gun. That yeah. But yeah, that's what all the
Frog Auto. So I hit randomizer one more time the other day, and I went to play the game, and the game like it. I thought it crashed my Steam Deck. I'm like, what the hell? And then my Steam Deck would like load and kept turning off and loading and kept turning off, and I was like, oh, do I have to like reload it, whatever? So I was like messing with my Steam Deck the other day. What I realized was, Xander, I needed to plug in my Steam Deck and it died. Battery.
Oh no.
I was just the battery, man. But I ended up after it charged, I ended up playing it yesterday a little bit. It's called Splodey.
Yeah.
Splodey. And so basically this to me is Super Meat Boy, but it's bombs to jump. And so first level, you just have a wall, you just throw bombs into it, move to the next level. Then you realize though, you can shoot the bomb and propel your character, but the way you use like the right stick to aim. And so based on the pitch is how it launches your character. And And I'm in the tutorial world, right? And this is why I had to stop playing, which was sad. But I was in the tutorial world and I'm playing through, and it was great. Like you could tell how they're going to add more complexities to it. But right now, it's like big areas. You can kind of carve your character in the air and lead them to a platform and move on and go through. Well, I was shooting my character and I found this little opening in the middle. I'm like, oh, cool. This looks like a cauldron. So I went in the cauldron and I'm in a special world.
Mm.
And so imagine Super Meat Boy when you press select and it turns into the Satan levels where it like turns into yeah, so it's basically that. And I just played the game. I'm in like the second or third level. And now I'm in the Satan world where it's pixel perfect jumping with like spikes everywhere. There's these characters that eat you and you gotta shoot a bomb again so you get shot in the air, and there's multiple chain jumps you gotta do. And I'm like, I just started playing this. And so I went to close out and I had to close out of the game, and I was like, all right, I'm good now. I'm good for today. That game was cool. The thing is though, is that if the normal levels are a little more fair for a while to let your skills build up, I feel like that game is has promised to be really, really fun. More like a puzzle platformer versus because it's not fast like Meat Boy. It's slower paced
Yeah.
because you can't run or jump. You literally got
Yeah, it's all about the bombs, so it gives you time to kind of make that precise decision for sure.
yeah. So not as not as approachable because you have to learn a new mechanic, but it's still cool as hell. So Splodey was one that I hit up on my randomizer. And so that was badass. So did you play anything else before we move to the on the rise?
I haven't played anything else, but I am downloading a couple of demos, and I do want to give a shout out to one of our regular listeners. The last line, he was mentioning this game it's on PlayStation Plus, it's on Xbox Game Pass, but this game called Blueprints.
Blueprints.
Blueprints. I haven't really looked too much about it, but I know he mentioned it in our comments. He's like, "You guys gotta check this game out," and it's obviously it must be indie because he's talking about on an indie podcast. So I don't think it's a AAA game or anything, but
So Blueprints is $27. It was just released, and Dogu Bomb is the developer. Looks cool though.
he's talking like this might be a game of the year for him. So
It
yeah,
looks like a puzzle exploration game, 3D puzzle exploration game.
hmm, this can be fun.
Yeah, so it looks interesting.
The Blueprints. And it's on PlayStation Plus and Game Pass. So, I mean, if anything, I'm just going to download it and put it in my backlog. Check it out.
The forever log.
The I will check it out log. I will check this out.
We'll check it out log.
Speaking of checking out, going into On the Horizon, these are some games that we or you looked at over the week that you were like, okay, we got to check these games out.
They're all crazy this time. They're all insane. First one is called Peppered and Existential Platformers. This game looks insane. This game looks ridiculous. It's story-rich, pixel graphics, challenging platformer. So it says it's an existential platformer where doomsday is just around the corner. Save the world or become an eternal corporate slave for the god of death. Your choices matter, or do they? Goof around and find out. So fuck around and find out, he says. Mostly Games is the developer. It was just released. This is the first game on Steam that they have tied to their account. And it does have a demo, and it is $15.
Yeah, I was about to mention it's got a demo. It's got over positive, like 205 reviews, really, really positive. So
it looks cool as hell. It looks really, really cool. I do like when they add like substance to a game, and then they have a lot of humor in there because it's like, do you want to save the world or get a job? What do you want to do? It's just, like funny stuff like that. But I mean, I do like my little platformers. I'm just hoping that it has enough to like hook me in that one at a time. versus like so some of these games like I'll play them and then it goes into the backlog like the one playing Splodey and then all of a sudden I move away from it because I hit like a wall because it ramped up too fast by throwing me into that awesome little extra thing. Ah man, my thing just froze on me.
Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
and
just
that's the way it is for me. Like when I'm playing a game, like sometimes I'll play a game and I'm like, man, this is really good. But like you said, it's gotta have that hook, especially when you're playing so many games. I mean, it's just so much to take in. So there has to be that little bit of special something that makes you be like, all right, I gotta keep playing this one. But this one looks
the next
awesome.
one.
And I've been loving all this Amiga stuff that you've been sharing on here because I'm not too familiar with it.
What's crazy is that like in I've been doing and following indie. I just been doing this for like my own personal thing for like 5 years, and there has not been this many Amiga inspired games released like that have stuck out to me in such a short amount of time in 5 years. And so, what was the game that you're talking about?
The Syder Reload.
Cider Reload. So apparently, Cider was originally released on the Amiga, I think is what they're saying, but it says it revives the Cider series in a love letter to 90s Amiga shoot 'em ups with upgraded graphics, refined gameplay. There are challenging levels that flee the ships and a mother load of alien invaders. Get back to your roots and curse at your monitor as you're in the skills first shooter. And so when I think of like Amiga. And so again, the Commodore Amiga was the sequel to the Commodore 64. Commodore 64 was between an Atari and an NES. The Amiga was between like the Super Nintendo and PlayStation era. Like to me, it's like in that realm. And so like you have like amazing backdrops of pixel backdrops from back in the day, but like for me, a skills-based shooter reminds me of like a Gradius or a Life Force, where it's not like constant bullet hell. It's more you have barrages of enemies, and you get your power-ups, and if you die, you gotta power back up.
Yeah, and I was watching it. I was the vibe I was getting was almost like R-Type Final. Like it's got
Okay.
that older R-Type, kind of like an R-Type from the PS2 era or something. Uh,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this looks really good. Also, another little deep cut, a little indie Dreamcast homebrew, Slip Feed. No, no, not Slip Feed.
Still feed?
Sturmwind.
Oh,
Sturmwind. That's her.
Stormwind.
Sturmwind is another skill-based shooter. It's a little bit more bullet hellish, but it's got that same kind of like graphic style as this game, and I really love that art style where it's like the
Well,
3D ship and the 2D background. It's cool.
this also really reminds me of the current and really not really current because they don't come out too often, but the Neo Geo AES homebrew aftermarket scene. Because like when you mentioned Stormwind for the Dreamcast, a lot of those games also were on Dreamcast for a while, and it's like NG Dev Team is the one developer that does a lot of those. They do shoot developers just like this, and this developer is a very interesting one, Studio Evil. And why I think they're very interesting is there's a Switch physical of one of their games that I owned. I didn't know it was them. It's called Super Cane Magic Zero. And it is like a Zelda style game. It's like $20, but it is a Zelda style game that they released in 2019 that I have physically. And and it was released in Japan first with a Japanese only cover and all this stuff. But like, yeah, this is like is a wild game that goes down a deep cut rabbit hole because it's like almost like a funny action RPG.
Huh.
It's like it's freaking crazy. Completely the opposite realm of this beautiful looking game that Syder Reloaded is. Syder Reloaded is like because we're mentioning Amigo with the pixelated graphics. These are like artistic backdrops in Cider Zero. Like that, it's like polygonal, like mastery.
It's so nice. Like
It's
I love
beautiful.
I love my shooters, and I mean I've been really digging these like revamped Amiga games because this is like a whole new world for me because I never really played an Amiga. I knew about the console, I knew about some of the games, but like yeah, we've covered a couple of them in the last couple episodes, and this is awesome. This next
This
game was
here
really
is
good.
$12 too.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. What is the next game?
This next game is Gladmort.
Gladmort.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw the picture of it and like there's like a guy with like a double like chin, this little demon chin. I'm like, what the hell is this crap? And then you look at the graphics and it's like it just reminds me of the 90s arcade scene.
Yeah, it's cool. It's ghouls and ghosts. You know, he even has like the little animation when you get hit, you lose your clothes. I mean, I'm not complaining. I freaking love that. So
Well, it's like ghouls and ghosts, and then I don't know if you ever played Black Tiger in the arcade. But like Black Tiger has a similar axe style attack that this guy had. And what I like is that the publisher is Pixel Art. Pixel Art's known for the physicals. So that means that there's a potential that Gladmort will get a physical in the future. Chips on Steroids is what the developer's name is. And it's, again, their first game. And all these games have been released within weeks of this. This one's like a month ago. Like within weeks of our recording, all these games so far. In a faraway land, Xander, in the land of legend, a mysterious plague of unknown origin has rapidly infected the population. Dubbed the Red Plague, the evil nature of the phenomenon is unmistakable. The dead begin to rise from their graves, and demonic incantations begin. Looks like wild, dude.
and what's
It's
really interesting is this game was actually designed for the Neo Geo.
It's amazing. I wonder if they're gonna do a Neo Geo version because I don't know if it's pixel art, but there's a couple of those devs on their websites. They'll do an AES cartridge version too. They're like $500
Yeah,
physical, which
it's so worth it.
like I did one it was called Krautbuster, which was like a spiritual successor to Metal Slug, and it took 10 years to come out. Like there's like a 10-year lag in some of these games, but it was awesome when I got it. And it's super expensive now. It ain't $500 to find a physical copy of Krautbuster. And like if Gladmort has a physical, might be worth grabbing. Because like to me, it would be awesome to play that in an actual arcade setting on a Steelbook.
Yeah, because the most notably especially when you're looking at screenshots on Steam is this game has like big boss fights. You know, you're battling to bear like this big like pig knight, and it just this looks like a classic arcade game. I love it.
Dude. And then, of course, this next game is right up my alley. Like, holy cow, this game looks like a masterpiece.
It's good. I played the demo.
Did you? This game is Twilight Monk, developed by Aquatic Moon Games. It is an adventure Metroidvania action RPG hybrid. Says embark on a quest to recover the 3 rings of the Triskeleton, maybe? Triskelion, as the last descendant of ancient kung fu warriors in Twilight Monk. Experience a richly crafted Metroidvania RPG with intricately crafted dungeons linked across a vast overworld spanning multiple continents, or biomes, as we say here on the Other Correct podcast. But yeah, dude, like Aquatic Moon Games, it looks awesome. Again, though, like the only game that these developers are making or have linked to their account on Steam, because we, again, don't know if they've done others. But like a lot of these games that we're talking about on this podcast too today have like these physical publishers that have multiple games. So, you know, we did mention before we talk about the details of how awesome this game looks, that it is not, it's a little alarming when you see a lot of these physical or these publishers linked to them, because it was a month ago that we talked about that there was games that were taken off Steam because the publisher did something, and that developer's one game is gone. That's their one way to earn money. And so while, you know, hopefully everything is good, and I'd like to see them, because those publishers give, more credit. There's more marketing to them, more backing, so maybe more people will play and see their games. Because the Indie Credible, we can only talk about so many games too, and so having a publisher linked to you does help. But I just hope that they all stay. But what are your thoughts on this Twilight Monk thing, man? Because this looks cool as shit. One $20 game.
Yeah, I played the demo and it was a lot of fun. Very, very detailed. Apparently, it's based off of the book series, from what I've gathered. Which is, I mean, yeah, and it's really interesting because the guy you play as, like, he has like this big vase on his back that he carries on his back that that you can use as a weapon, but you also use it to like use for platforming as well. So I think there's going to be things like, because I never did finish the demo, but I played it for a little bit. But I think as you progress through the game, maybe you get more abilities that kind of tie in with that.
So I saw something on one of the gifts that's on the main Steam page. Does this happen in the game, Xanders? It's like a Chrono Trigger style where you're in the overworld and you hit an enemy and you like go into a level to fight them, side scrolling style.
Yeah, there's some moments
That
like
looks
that.
cool. That looks
Yeah,
cool as hell. Like, so basically, it's like a Zelda 2 style overworld then, where you get
mm,
pulled in and then you fight enemies.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
cool.
really, really good, really
Do you know
detailed.
what other game did that with the overview? Was Phoenotopia Awakening that I published with Premium back in the day, where it did that. This looks fast paced though with the
It
action,
is. It
which is
is.
cool. I like the fast paced action. Looks like some of these bosses are used. There's like a giant dragon boss that's like the size of the screen, which
Mm.
is super dope. Super dope, man. Yeah, Twilight Monk though is looking like it's a really cool one. Like
It's worth the money. It's worth the money. I mean, you could probably
what's it,
wait for a
20 bucks?
sale, but it's definitely a $20 game. Like, you play it and it's polished. It's a polished indie game. But
Okay. So this last game is a $40 game, Xander. I'm not sure if it's even indie at that point, but it looks freaking amazing. It's an action RPG, Souls-like, dark fantasy, difficult game. It's called Mandragoria: Whispers of the Witch Tree. It says it's an epic action RPG in a dark fantasy world. Battle monsters across a 40+ hour story, master 6 unique classes, craft hundreds of useful items, and explore the secrets of an expansive, interconnected world. And it has mixed reviews, like 68% positive. So, I think that you will see people and reviewers and people on like online, like the fans, be a lot more critical if the game's $40 though
yeah,
than if it's 20.
yeah.
Yeah. The game though looks the freaking tree, like there's like a little tree for your skill tree. It's huge. The graphics reminded me of like a Bloodstained style where it's like 3D, 2.5D render. Mm. What are your thoughts on this shit though?
Yeah, I was getting that bloodstain kind of vibe as well. And the gameplay almost makes think of like Blasphemous. That's the gameplay
Yeah.
when we think of. Which it's funny, I'm not a big Souls like kind of gamer, but there is a certain kind of charm with the 2D Souls like that kind of draws me in. And I think it's because it just looks more retro. So it reminds me of like, oh, this is hard because it's a retro game as opposed to like Dark Souls or something like that. But there is a
Yeah.
demo. There is a demo for
Well,
it. So
like graphically though, for me, Blasphemous has pixel graphics. Like the
yeah.
character is very
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
These are
graphically.
not. This is
Yeah.
like complete polygonal, like amazing looking, like graphics, which is crazy. My question is why is it mixed? That is the thing. And I already looked to the developer is Primal Game Studio, and this is their only game again, but they have a digital publisher that's managing their portfolio. My question is, let me click on the mixed reviews and see if there's anything that pops up for us here. Um, so not recommended. And it says, this is just the first one, the most helpful review. I'm personally loving the game and can live without ultra wide support. But according to whatever, they're selling your personal data to a bunch of companies, which is why I'm giving a thumbs down. So they're
Ooh.
selling your personal data. They're making money off the game. Then they make money off of selling all your data. What the actual F?
Wow. This is not the little
That's
purpose,
why.
don't you this?
So all the not recommendeds are from that. The actual game itself is great. That's the thing. Like a very good mix of Castlevania and Dark Souls, interesting classes and exploration. Highly recommended for anyone wanting to scratch the Metroidvania or Souls like it. So in other words, the game's awesome, but they're selling people's personal data, so they're getting thumbs down from the community. So that's what it is.
And it's a $40 and it's a $40 game too. I mean, that's just that's some tea right there.
Wow. Yeah, I was wondering because I was like, dude, this game looks awesome. Why the hell are people like, why is it 50%? 50%. So that is something that's interesting. So the EULA says that they're, and I'm not sure that I assume that's like a organization. I should know what that means, but I don't off the top of my head. But that's a very interesting thing. So don't sell people's data. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, because all the good things about all the good reviews are like mostly talking about the game itself. All the thumbs down is the data selling.
It's the T.
So,
the T. And so it's sad. But there are ways to play games like that online. Like if it comes on Game Pass or doing whatever. Now on the other thing, I assume us using Game Pass, they're already selling our data.
Yeah. So. I mean, you know, when you start a new game, they have like that whole like 6-page agree, and none of us are reading that. There's no telling what they're saying. This is like, no, I want to blast space aliens. I don't care.
Yeah, blast space aliens. I love it. Dude, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, it's been a wild time. That is on the horizon. There's already, as of this morning, because at the morning of our recording, I already found another half dozen games that are for next week. It never ends, man. And that's the thing. So with last year's 80,000 in 2024, 80,000 indie games, like we're trying to do our part to highlight as much as we think is cool, creating backlogs. As you can see, Xander's much better by buying a game and playing it than I am, because his 80% is my 10 or 50%.
I buy with a purpose.
But I'm also playing a lot of stuff not in Steam. I've been playing a lot of stuff on Switch or just on because Xbox Game Pass is not on Steam either, and I play a lot of indie on that too. So I play on all the different stuff, and I'm playing retro games. But I would say, you know, I'll hit my randomizer this week and see what pops up to you. But I'm gonna jump into the recent backlog and see if I can jump down a little more Veritus this week or some other stuff. At the time of this recording, it is WrestleMania weekend, so I'll be sucked into the WrestleMania zeitgeist, watching 8,000 hours of wrestling.
Oh yeah, so WrestleMania is like a whole week now. It's not like a one event. I'm like, what?
Well, it's crazy because, like, so I watch wrestling like live twice a year. I watch the Royal Rumble, which we usually have a pool, like a Super Bowl pool to go, and then I watch WrestleMania. Well, it's not just WrestleMania because you got 2 nights of WrestleMania, which are each like hours apiece, probably 9 hours apiece or some shit. But there's also the Hall of Fame where they induct people, which was last night at freaking midnight, which I fell asleep watching it. Midnight my time, which is like 2 a.m. your time.
Yeah.
And but then there's like the NXT, which is the developmental brand for the WWE. So that's the pay-per-view like right now while we're recording. And then there is pay-per-views because it's in Vegas this year. There's pay-per-views out there. So there's a GCW pay-per-view, Game Changer Wrestling, which I watch Game Changer Wrestling. It's like Bloodsport, which they're like beating the shit out of each other, which I think is a shoot, like they're actually fighting.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's a little interesting. I don't know what parts of it is actually the wrestling plant, but then there's WrestleCon. So there's a convention there, and the WrestleCon now has a pay-per-view associated with it. And then there's like several others that I probably won't watch or I won't try to watch. And then there was like this WW developmental ID independent developmental tournament going on this weekend with different program. Like it's just there's like probably hundreds of hours of wrestling, and like I don't have the time to do any of that. So fortunately, Xander, what I will be doing is painting stuff while I have WrestleMania going. Sonic zooming by us. but I am still working on my giant canvas piece of, I say giant, but it's a 10 by 11 or 11 by 14.
It's a good
canvas.
size.
But
Yeah,
I'm
it's
working
a
on
good size.
my Metroid, the tattoo, but the actual version, not the cover up. That it's smaller at the top. But I'm working on finishing painting that. So that's my goal during WrestleMania is to finish painting the fan.
That sounds relaxing.
And then also for those that haven't seen it, and obviously it's been old by the time you listen to this, definitely go to YouTube Indie Gaming Gems. Xander and I riffed on the best games we found in March of 2025. We did a lot of it like off the cuff, which was ridiculous. But this is an interesting thing in the summary here, Xander, for you is so I noticed that when I was doing weekly uploads of Indie Gaming Gems, when I was covering games and games and games, I was getting like 1,000 to 2,000 views. It was, building momentum. Now it's like 10 doing monthly content. Well, the algorithm does not like monthly content, does not like monthly shows. Because I'm like, dude, do a show, best games we found of the month. And really, it's like Indie Credible filters now into Indie Gaming Gems for the top 10. So especially with you and I riffing on it, it was cool shit. Yeah. And I had to edit out a lot of our flubs because we flubbed the shit out of it. At the end, I left in some funny stuff, and I put our faces on there too, which I didn't do in previous ones. So to me, it's a cool thing. But now it has me thinking like, all right, so people aren't going to see it because it didn't hit the algorithm. So then even if you want it, your listener here, you're not going to see the content. So now I got to think preservation. How do we preserve it? And when Spotify is also where we host this too, where Spotify is being very, very I don't know, I would say removal fun.
Sashay, I just recently got an email because I know where you're going with this, and I just recently got an email that there are episodes of Excess Gaming podcasts that are going to be removed from Spotify because of the gaming music we used. Because we used to have like a little radio break, and we would play like a video game song. And some of those songs, may have been like a Castlevania song or Mega Man or something like that, and they're all being pushed away from Spotify because Spotify is now starting to stream more video game songs. That's where it's all coming down.
So you think about it, I'm getting tagged on this for the old Switch Mania podcast playcast. I'm getting tagged on this for the Phobos Militia hobbycast I did with Kyle and Video Game Bullshit like 15 years ago stuff. That's now getting removed, delisted because of a new change in a platform. Yeah. So now we have to think about preservation wise. All right, how do we physically preserve? So that way it doesn't go away because like literally Kyle passed away. Like I can't go back and re-record that shit. I don't want to edit hundreds and hundreds of hours of freaking audio because they changed their policies. Not happening. So how do I preserve it in the way that he edited it? Because again, I'm editing it. It's now no longer how he edited the episode. And so how do I preserve physically? Luckily, it's all on archive.org for free for everyone. So probably making sure that all the newest stuff goes up on an archive as well. So that way there's an archive of the Switch Mania playcasts and all that stuff. Because I got hit and I'm like, how the hell is the game collectors getting removed? We did one episode in January but no, it's tied to the Switch Mania playcast. And so using music and some of the music is shit that I had the license to because I was with premium. And so they're still tagging it and getting rid of it. And I'm like, cool.
And I know it like I know it's for some people like maybe they don't go back and listen to old podcasts, but I'm telling you, man, sometimes it's nice going back and listening to like very old podcasts. Like I remember when I was really sick, I went back and listened to Gen Gamers, kind of going back to the beginning of the episode. I listened to Gen Gamers, and I was listening to them talk about when the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One was just coming out. And it really is fun listening to those old episodes. So knowing that, and then just your work and your history of doing podcasts being wiped away because of the music, it's just it sucks. I am not a fan of it because there's a lot
of it's just chiptune music from video games.
Yeah, and then there's a lot.
It's not like you're using freaking, like on your shirt.
Yeah, it's good old Sting. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're ending on a sour note. But no, there's some excellent games. But no, we're not ending on a sour note because we got
Never.
we got some good people to thank for this show. We got our executive producers on Patreon.
You did it.
Yeah.
So we have a Krylov.
And we also have hold on, my window got cut.
David Isherwood.
Yeah, it got cut off. It said Isherwood, but I wanted to make sure I got his first name right.
Yeah.
Yes, David Isherwood. And also Launchbox, aka the disgruntled gamer from the Thunderdome Gaming Society.
That was a double scramble. You said launch box instead of lunchbox, and they just messed up this scroll. I love it. Nah,
It's a good front end. What can I say?
and the disgruntled gamer, like, longtime listener, also does amazing content on YouTube about indie games. So he does really cool reviews on the games, like
And a lot of
game reviews.
And a lot of his reviews are like incoincidentally are some of the games that we ended up talking about. So I mean, like if you like the games we're talking about, definitely check out his content because he's probably done a review on it. So maybe a game that we have on the horizon that he might talk about. So yeah,
And then
big shout out.
finally we have Jesse Glenn. And now, just to put things into perspective, I did send out the first item for the producers, which executive producers also get, for Patreon. So it's patreon.com/Hagen's Alley. The first one, Xander, is this. This is what everybody got. They got the Indie coaster. Now, because I'm crazy and I'm always doing stuff, I included like 2 or 3 other bonus items, and I wrapped this separately. I said, this is your producer item, not the executive producer, because they're gonna get like a wooden book cover for the hardcover book of their choosing. So if they want a wooden book cover for the Genesis, like, I'll let them all have a quorum and figure it out. But this is the item, and then they got like another 2 or 3 items. So like a couple of them got a Contra piece or a Zelda piece or some other like games that we've talked about in Indie, like the games of the month that I've showed up on episodes. Those items I shipped out to the producers.
That's so cool. Well, and with the wood pixel art, it's just something you enjoy doing. That's what I like about it.
Exactly.
It's something you
Exactly.
enjoy doing, and it's just something that you're sharing. It's not like oh, I gotta do this because of this. That you're like, nah, I like doing this, and they like it too. Here you go. Like it's
Well,
really good.
and even stuff like this, like I did Sonic CD because I love freaking Sonic CD, and there was an actual old Hagen's Alley thing. So my YouTube channel that's like 20 years old, back when I was dating my wife, we did drunken gaming and we played Sonic CD. And we recorded the drunken playthrough, and we were
That would be such a confusing game being Little Slosh because they got the future and past like stuff that you switch through. It's like future.
It's anytime we died, we had to take a shot, and it was
Jeez.
it was I don't even know how that content got recorded.
So needless to say, you weren't doing too well at Sonic CD.
No, but I think we got all the way to. I think you fight Metal Sonic at the end before Robotnik, and we definitely got past Metal Sonic. So
Nice.
not too bad, but I still it died a lot. I died a lot, and yeah, dude. So that's the thing though, is that and notice how I said before them producers. So the producers like a cup of coffee a month, whereas the executive producers is a little bit more because they're also at the end of the year going to get the big thing, but they still get all the producer items. But even if you're a producer on the Patreon, you can still get the cool ass item. So next quarter, I'm going to do something else that's cool. This time I was like, these coasters for the Incredible. That's what I did. And of course I sent Xander, finally sent him his too.
Oh yeah.
Because outside of, getting in these awesome books and having the Kickstarter going, I did ship out all of the complete Genesis slipcase versions of those. I shipped out like 100 packages this week, and that was fun. That was yesterday, actually. That time this week. But and also did all and so those Patreon, when they back a book, and that's the other thing too, is if you're a Patreon supporter And so you're a producer, executive producer. I'm going to throw in other bonus items, and I have patches. I have complete Genesis patches for those that want to unveil the books. I have Hagen's Alley patches. I have all these extra stuff. So I throw in like little bonuses in their boxes too, because you're a Patreon supporter. Because I appreciate the support. It just helps, keep the lights on. It helps me pay my storage for for the freaking books. The storage is a couple $100 a month, so it helps me pay that stuff. So I appreciate it.
All money. Yeah, at the end of the day,
and that way I can just make stuff like awesome little pixels, little Mario on my shoulder, little guy.
Well, guys, I think this is going to conclude another episode of the Indie Credible podcast. And as always, support indie.